Hello and welcome to Saturday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where for the last few weeks on Saturdays I have been attempting non-sudoku puzzles, and well, there are few better, if any better, setters of non-sudoku puzzles in the whole world than KNT, and I've been recommended to have a go at a KNT puzzle called Cave Stations, which seems to be a loop drawing exercise. And I went over to Logic Masters to see what Logic Masters said about it. And I snipped some comments, and this is just a selection of the incredible comments that this puzzle has garnered, including from people like Jesper, who I respect incredibly, Statistica, Woofer ZFG, Stephen R, that comment's quite funny. Incredible puzzle. Never before have I spent 75% of my solve time convinced I must have broken the puzzle when I hadn't. The Bookworm, another real sort of puzzle expert. Yeah, so I will read you the rules. I have read through the rules before I turned on the webcam, and I think I will benefit from reading through them again. They're very, very unusual. So these stations, I think this is some sort of standard loop drawing variant, but it's not one I'm familiar with. That's where these junctions live. Cave I'm familiar with, and this is obviously a hybrid of the two styles. This has, I think, 4 stars out of 5 for difficulty, which is about the gentlest that KNT ever gets. So, okay, I'll read the rules in a moment. By this time, I guess the Times Crossword Championship will have finished. So it's the Times Crossword Championship today. So Mark may have regained his crown. I do not know, as at the time I'm recording this video, because I'm having to record this video before it's actually Thursday today when I'm recording this video. I don't often do this, record videos in advance. Normally I do it on the day of the video, but obviously when I know I've got the whole of Saturday is going to be wiped out with the championship, I won't have a chance to record a video on Saturday, so I am recording this a day or two early. So yeah, you guys will know better than me what's happened. Yeah, well, hopefully I will sit. I've met some of you at the Times Crossword Championship. Fingers crossed. Other than that, tomorrow is the closing date for this month's Patreon competition, which is the Carolines. I've sort of portmanteaued 2 words there. Caroline's Halloween Adventure. Here we go. Could you finish it if you hadn't started it yet by tomorrow? Absolutely, you could. Actually, you could. So do try, and do try it if you haven't had a go. You'll love the puzzles. They are all approachable, and yeah, the feedback we've been getting, we've had well over 1,000 correct entries. So just tremendous love for the Paint by Numbers Institute, and no surprises there. And I've got some birthdays to do, so let me do those. Embla, it's your 25th birthday today, and I know this because your friends Alexandra and Linus wrote in and told us that you watch every day. So Embla, thank you for watching. I hope you have a brilliant day today, replete with enormous amounts of chocolate cake, of course. Now, Harry, it's your birthday today, and I know this because your partner Lily wrote in and said that you were both fans of the channel. So 2 people to thank for watching. Harry, I hope you have a great one. Jason, it's your birthday today, and I know this because your wife Jackie wrote in, and Jackie had a lovely phrase. She described us as both being daily guests in your home, which I thought was that's a very nice way of putting it. And then finally, Renee. I think from the Netherlands, your boyfriend Thomas wrote in. I think the 2 of you might be in the Ardennes at the moment visiting friends, which might make securing luxurious chocolate cake difficult, I'm told, but apparently it's on its way at some point. But Renee, I have you to thank for getting Thomas into the channel. Apparently you got both of you hooked when Thomas arrived home one day and Renee said, I've been watching a man solve Sudoku puzzles for over 2 hours today. Well, that's totally normal. Renee, thank you for watching and thank you for spreading the word. Maverick is flying over, but with the introductions done and dusted. Let's turn our attention to Cave Stations by KNT, and I will read the rules. What we've got to do, I was going to say we've got to put the digits 1 to 9. No, I don't actually think we have to write digits in the grid at all today. We have got to draw a closed loop through the centre of some cells that passes through the numbers 1 to 9 in order. Okay. Each number is passed through exactly once, and all other numbers are unvisited. So you can see, if we look at this grid, there are several 3s, for example, but only one of these 3s will be the 3 that the loop goes through. The loop may not turn on numbers it passes through, and the loop crosses itself exactly at the given intersections. So this is going to be a strange old loop which is going to cross itself, but only where these crossroads are indicated. Now, something I am assuming to be the case, and I guess we'll find out during the solve, if this does turn out to be the case, I might alter the rules before I release them, before I release the video, because the fact this is a loop and we have to go through the numbers 1 to 9 in order. So let's just say we went 1, 2, I'm just doing this roughly to sort of 4 there, 5 there, where's a 6? Oh look, we could probably get a lot of, oh okay, I'm going to get into trouble now, aren't I? But let's just say I went 6, 7, and then I looped around here, and then I went over here to 9. Now we're told we have to make a loop, so I imagine what we have to do is then connect the 9 back to the 1 again. But it doesn't explicitly say that, but the fact it's a loop sort of suggests it. If I go through the digits 1 to 9 in order, then presumably I go back to 9 again. So I might make that clear if that is what turns out to be the case. Now, okay, so that's the first paragraph of rules, and so far I think I understand it. Then the next paragraph says, some cells are to be shaded such that all unshaded cells are connected, and all connected groups of shaded cells touch the perimeter of the grid. Now, again, this is a cave puzzle. It's called Cave Stations. So I feel, again, the problem is we didn't have this tested because it's a seriously difficult puzzle, and it has obviously got a lot of solves on it. So I'm not able, I'm sort of having to assume from my own knowledge of cave puzzles how these rules probably work. Now I think where it says all of the unshaded cells are connected, I think it means orthogonally connected, because that's how cave puzzles work, and all the connected groups of shaded cells touch the perimeter of the grid, so that's orthogonally touch the grid. So if the loop, let's just do a silly loop. Actually, that is a really interesting thing. Let me just think about that for a moment. Oh yeah, okay. Sorry. Now, yes. Now I'm sort of let's assume that's true, because that's how cave rules work. I'm suddenly realizing that there cannot be an exact mapping between the loop I draw and the shaded unshadedness of the grid, because any loop, obviously, if that's the loop, there's presumably going to be some unshadedness in here and some unshadedness in here, and that, in order for those unshadednesses to connect, we are going to have to cross the loop, aren't we? So there is a clear distinction between loop and connect, and this cave rule that's going on. A digit not visited by the loop, is unshaded. Oh, a digit not. Oh, okay. A digit not visited by the loop is unshaded. So that doesn't mean all cells not visited by the loop are unshaded. It just means if they're a digit and they're not visited by the loop, they are unshaded. And the digit indicates the number of unshaded cells seen in all 4 directions from the cell containing the digit, including itself. So that's standard cave rules. So imagine that this was unshaded. Then we'd have to make sure that looking north, east, south and west, this saw exactly 5 unshaded cells, including itself. So it could look like that, and then these would be shaded, and that would be a valid representation of this clue. Okay, all digits visited by the loop, as well as intersections are shaded. Okay, so if a digit is on the loop, it is shaded, and all of the intersections are shaded. So at least that's going to give me a start. And there's only one more rule, which is sort of like an acre rule. It says, along the loop, there may never be 3 shaded or 3 unshaded cells visited sequentially. So that's intriguing, isn't it? So, yeah, okay. I mean, I think that is just how it works. Do have a go. Do have a go. I appreciate that this is a rule set for the ages, isn't it? But apparently it's a brilliant puzzle. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now I get to play. Let's get cracking. Now, what I do like to do before I start a puzzle where the rules are complicated is I really try to fix the rule set in my head. I'm not sure how good a job I've done of that this time, but I've now read the rules twice. So let me just think about it again. I'm going to draw a loop through the numbers 1 to 9. The loop doesn't turn on the numbers it passes through. So it's going to go in a straight line. So, I mean, the first thing I can see, I suppose, is that 3 I don't think can be on the loop. Because if that is on the loop, there's definitely a turn in the cell, isn't there? And then it crosses itself at the intersections. That's fine. And then we've got the cave constraint. Now, something that I always forget about the cave constraint, but I will bring it up now, is that what you can't have in a cave puzzle is this pattern of shadedness. And that is because of the requirement that the shaded cells connect to the edge of the grid orthogonally. And what you can see then is however this cell gets to the edge, of the grid, doesn't matter what path it takes. Let's say it's a very complicated path, and then this will go on a very complicated path to the edge of the grid. Let's say it does that. You can now see that we cannot meet this requirement that requires the green, the unshaded cells, to connect with one another. So that is not allowed. We cannot have checkerboards in this puzzle. All digits visited by the loop. Oh, yeah, we need to use this. All digits visited by the loop. All the intersections are shaded, right? That's exactly where I'm going first. So I'm going to shade all the intersections. That's something I'm going to do. I said this cell was off the loop. Now, does that mean it's shaded or unshaded? I can't remember. I can't even remember that. A digit not visited by the loop is unshaded, so that one isn't grey then, that's green. Oh, so that's one of the ones that obeys the cave constraint. Oh, and then along the loop there's never 3 sequentials. Right, okay, I'm there. Right, so what we need to do is use our pen tool today, don't we? So we go to that. If you don't know how to turn the pen tool on, click the cog icon, enable pen tool. I always have it enabled. It's very useful because what it's going to allow us to do is to extend our loop in, well, it's going to allow us to build a loop in the first place, but also, look, we can do this. If we had any competence at all with a mouse, we could do this. I mean, this obviously is not really helping us to solve the puzzle, but at least it's sort of going to show us. I mean, this is going to be a complicated old loop, isn't it? Now, so what's the choice now? Presumably we use this, do we? To start? That is off the loop. And it obeys cave rules. Which means, if it obeys cave rules, I've got to shade some cell or unshade some cells. I've got to make cells green. 3 green, it could be up there, for example, if this 3 was also off the loop. Yeah, that's not right, actually. That I can see straight away. So why don't we talk about that? So does this 3 go straight upwards? No, I'm going to claim. Because if it does, this 3 is also complete, so must be hemmed in. It must be cul-de-saced because it sees 3 south of it. This 3 is complete, so it is cul-de-saced. And now we have to remember, we have to connect all of these squares with any other green that exists in the rest of the grid. So I suppose one thing I need to consider is whether, no, we know that there are other greens in the grid because, for example, all 4s are not all shaded. There's only one shaded 4, which is the 4 on the loop. So there is some green in the rest of the grid. So this green has to get out, and that breaks it. Because this 2 is now complete, and that means that's going to be shaded. So that's, I mean, that's quite complicated even to get to that point, isn't it? But what we've now learned is that this is unshaded because we can't take this 3 straight up vertically. How does this actually help us? Does that mean we know something about that now? You see, if we knew what... Oh, I know what we should do. No, what we should do, I've changed my mind. What we should do is take an audit of, for example, there's only one 1 in the grid. So that 1 is the one that is on the loop and is shaded. Now the loop, we're told, doesn't turn when it goes through a shaded cell. So we're either doing that or that to get through that. Now 2, and we've got 2 2s. How many 3s have we got? Several. My phone is buzzing. Oh, there really are a lot of 3s. Oh, there are a lot of... okay, maybe this isn't how you start it. Is there any other digit that's just got 1 of it? No, no, there isn't. So it's only that one. Oh, that's rotten. Okay, it's probably this. We probably need to think about whether this is the grey 2. If it's not the grey 2, if it's the green 2, that's probably very forcing, because the 2 would be completed, wouldn't it? Oh, this is the same problem. I just get into the same problem, I think, because this 2 needs to now be cul-de-saced. It's seen its 1 green cell, so we cul-de-sac it. The 3 has to take this square, because it needs to be complete, but then that's grey, and look at that. I've penned in my green again. Don't pen in your green. So this is grey. Well, okay, that's fine, because one of these was going to be grey and near the 1. So now the loop passes straight through this 2, but in which direction is the question? Oh yeah, it'll be this way, because if it's this way, then we know this 3 is off the loop, but we can turn and go through that square, can't we? Now what I don't know is what that means for anything else. And then, oh goodness, so then we'd have to be careful about having 3 in a row of the same colour. But I think this would need to be green. Oh, no, that doesn't work either. Oh, that's good. It doesn't work. This is very powerful. This 3 in the corner is really powerful, actually. Because the requirement... I'm beginning to understand the constraint that's operating here. Yeah, we've got to be so careful. We really do have to be so careful. Yes, okay. So in fact, I'm going to unwind this, and I'm going to ask a more generic question about this 3 clue. And the question I'm going to ask is very simply, can that be green? And if that's green, the problem there is that both of these squares become grey to frame our green, and that traps in the green, doesn't it? which must be wrong. So in fact, this is definitely grey. This is definitely green. This is definitely grey to complete our 3. This 3 we know has this unshadedness has to connect to the rest of the grid. So we zoom up there. Oh, this is really weird. So all of our loop is now getting multicolored. Oh, that square. Yeah, the loop has gone from this square to this square and through the intersection. So if this was grey, that would be 3 greys in a row. That's green. But this is on the loop. Yeah, okay. So now the corollary of everything we've done is that the loop doesn't go through here. Because if it does, it can't turn into the 3. It's going to turn into the top 3, converting it to grey, because all 3, any number on the loop is a shaded cell, and there would be 3 in a row. 1, 2, 3. That's wrong. So actually, it goes like that through the 2. And it doesn't bump into the 3. That 3 is out of bounds. And we can't... Oh, look at this. Now we can't go 3 in a row in green. So we can't go up. If we go up, we've gone 3 in a row in green. So we go there. So this is going up. Oh, this is getting very, very confusing. Now we can't go there. Oh, but we can go straight through the 1, can't we? That's what... I say that's what we're going to do, but... I am not sure at all I know what we're going to do. Well, hang on. One thing we're going to do is note that it's now impossible to go straight through this 3, because to do so would cul-de-sac the loop. So this 3 is green and off the loop, and therefore out of bounds. Now, do we know the colour of this? And the answer is no. I think it's no anyway. Do we know? Oh, this loop is doing it's mad, isn't it? Oh, here's a thought. That 2 is on the loop, so that 2 is not on the loop. There's only 1, 2 on the loop. So this is now out of bounds. The loop cannot go through there. And the loop is either doing that or that through the 1, because it's got to go straight through it. Oh, it's lovely. KNT is so clever. I mean, this is just mad, isn't it? This little corner of the grid is forcing so much logic. Yeah, now let's go back to the other rule, the 3 rule. This has to see 3. If this is green, that's 4. So it can't, that's got to be grey, that's got to be green, that's got to be green, that's got to be grey to make the 3 clue work. Now, now I want that one to turn, but maybe it doesn't have to. Don't make checkerboards. Don't make checkerboards. That would be a checkerboard. If that's green, it's a checkerboard. I can't have any checkerboards. That's got to be grey. So now, okay, now the loop can't go to this square because it will go 1, 2, 3 in grey, so it must turn there. And now the 1 can't go vertical because it would convert this cell into a crossroads. This cell is not a crossroads, so we go like that, and that's beautiful because now this square has to be green, otherwise the loop goes 3 grey. So that's green. Now this 2 clue is complete from a cave perspective, so we've got to cul-de-sac the rest of it. Now don't make checkerboards. Don't make checkerboards. This is very exciting. This has got to be green, or that's going to have 3 in a row. This has got to be green, or that would be 3 in a row down there. Don't make a checkerboard. Okay, that might be as far as this takes us. Well, that was still exciting. This green has got to get out, so that's got to be green. I keep seeing 2x2 restrictions, but there are none, so far as I'm aware, in this puzzle. Oh, here's a little point. This can't move upwards, because that would be 3 greys in a row, wouldn't it? So let's definitely make sure we understand that. So, this has to go through a little channel there. It's got to go into that one. So now this has got to go up. No, we don't know. Well, we do know something about that. That is green, isn't it? So that's got to be green to get out. We've got to connect all the greens up in the end. Now, the grey obviously doesn't connect up, so we don't have the same requirement there. But we're off to a start. We're off to a start. And what do we do now? So we've got 2 greys here, so that's... No, I was going... Well, yeah, we can't continue up here, can we? If the loop continued into this square, we would have a problem. So let's turn, and then that square must be green. That looks like it's trying to create a 4, doesn't it, there? Yeah, the other thing we're going to have to be conscious of is if we're right with our logic about the 1 and how it works, these strands need to connect. One of them will connect to a 2 and one of them will connect to a 9 as the first digit they see. So it looks like this one might go to the 9 there maybe, and that one might go to the 2 down here. How does it get there? Ugh, I don't know actually. That's very weird. That is really weird. Okay. Oh goodness me! So what? which rule do I now use to my advantage? Have I found the real 3 yet? No. Have I found the real 4 yet? No. Oh dear. Have I got any more opportunities for the loop to go 3 the same way? This is okay. Oh, this is a strange idea. Right. Let's try what we just did with the 1 clue. I'm going to try it on this 2 clue. So the strands of this 2 clue go through a 1 clue and a 3 as the next opportunity. Now, how could I connect this to this? Let me show you. If I do that, if I connect those up, well, now what I can't do is that, because that's going to create a little loop. So this is going to either go up into a 4 there or left into a 4 there, but 2 and 4 are not connected on the loop. So this doesn't go in there, it's got to dip down. That's going to be helpful, and it's got to stay away from this connection. So that connection has to turn. Oh, this is huge. This is huge because now, well, there's all sorts going on now. The first thing is that's 2 shaded, so that's unshaded. Let's make use of the checkerboard. That has to be green. That's 2 in a row, so that's got to be grey. But there's more. There's definitely more. These can't connect. I'm just going to double check that again. That is right. That is right. That is right. But look, this strand here has gone 2. So it can't connect here because that would be 3 greens in a row. So in fact, there's a little gullyway there that has to be exploited. Now this gullyway we've just built has to go to grey. Otherwise it'd be 3 greens in a row. Don't make a checkerboard the other way round. This bottom strand has to keep going. It's still not allowed to connect here. So it keeps going again where it goes green to stop being 3 in a row. Now, okay, so now we've got to be more careful because Wow, what's going on? What is going on? So now I sort of do want to... This one definitely has gone through the 2. I'm not sure. That was jolly exciting though. We managed to do quite a lot there. I've still got to keep this and this apart. This, well, here's a very simple point. This line, its next move on the loop is either up or across, isn't it? Through a 3. So this goes through a 3, which means the other side goes through a 1. So that's the top section. So this section has to hit a 1 next. Right. Okay, I can see something there then, I think. I think I can. Let me try and explain what I'm seeing there. It looks, doesn't it, like... Well, if this just continues on its way to miss the 4 and the 3, which is what it should do, because it's got to hit a 1. It's going to go there, then it can't go down or it'll run into a 4 when this extends. So it goes there. But what do we do with this now? So what I'm saying is, if this does extend here, this can't turn into itself. So it'd have to run through the 3 and continue. But then this is all wrong, because this is the one that's meant to go through a 3 and go straight through. So I don't think that can go straight here. Now, the implication of that, of course, is that it goes up into that. And that does sort of work, because then it can get out by going up here, and it does get out then. So I'm just going to double check that. So if I go here, if I can't go down, because that's going to force the 2 to connect to the 4, which is, we know this is meant to connect to a 1. Yeah, that just doesn't work at all. So we've got to go up, and then up and across. And we'll change our 1 there to be a 1 here. This one has got to hit a 1. This one has got to hit a 3. Oh, so look now. This is beautiful. It can't go straight up, because it'll run into the 1 and it'll create a small loop. So now we know that this goes through there, which means this is grey. We know this has to connect out. Oh, which actually, this 3 cave clue is sort of trying to do something for us, isn't it? We can delete that, because we've learnt this now effectively needs to go into a 4, which, well, who knows which 4 it is? I'm not going to guess. But this is definitely not the 4 that we're looking for, because the loop cannot go in a straight line through this 4 at all. So that is green. The loop could go in a straight line through this one if it went horizontally. If this was green, that would be completed. Oh, that's almost impossible. If that's green, because we cul-de-sac it, completing this 4 is then really difficult. You've got to make both of those green, which might fail. That would be green. Well, that does fail. That's complicated, but it fails. Let me explain. Right. So what we have to do is a little bit of visualization required here. We've got to take into account this 3 clue. So if this 4 is green, you can see we have to frame it. It's got to be cul-de-sac because it's already met its criteria. This 4 clue is now very difficult to fulfill. This would be green, and this would be green. And then the 4 clue works. It does see 4. But now what's this? And it can't be anything. it can't be green because the 3 clue beneath it would be broken. And it can't be grey because what does that create in that 2x2? A very naughty checkerboard. So this is in fact grey, which is not really what I was expecting. And the loop is going to go through here. Now when it goes through there, it now can't go there because that would be 3 of those thingies in a row. So it turns, the corollary of that being this is now green, in order to ensure we don't have 3 in a row in the other direction. This is, I mean, it's so intricate, isn't it? It really is fascinating. I wonder how hard this was to construct. I'm guessing very hard. Now, what do we get from that then? What? Well, one thing we get is all other 4s are green. Oh, that's lovely. This, now we've got to avoid a checkerboard there, so that's green. These are harder to do things with, aren't they? Perhaps they'll come into play later. Right, so now we've got to think again. They're actually getting harder. This 1 here has to connect to the 2, which is there. And it is totally in the wrong place, because this 1, it's going to connect there. I don't even know how it's going to do that. That feels a bit alarming, actually. It has got an awful lot of real estate to cover. I mean, there are so many crossings in the grid that it's presumably possible to do it. It just feels unlikely. Okay, we know the loop turned here, and then that's green, because otherwise that would be 3 in a row. So this 4 is very nearly completed. Oh, this is nice. This is a nice point. If that's green now, the problem there is the 4 is now completed, so this would have to be grey, and that would create a checkerboard. So in fact, that is grey, which is underwhelming, actually. that was less propitious than I was hoping for. So the 4 either takes a green here or a green here. The loop. Okay, the loop through the 1 has gone through 2 greens, so it can't go up again. And if it turned left, it would bump into the 4, which is out of bounds, because it's only this 4 that's on the loop. So it turns there into a grey. And now this green has to get out. Now it can't. Now this square can't be green, or the 4 would be broken. KNT, you are a very, very clever person. Now, okay, I can see that this loop can't extend up, because that would be a run of 3. So let's stop that. Let's take this here. Now, okay, what we can do, one thing we can do is these 2. Obviously the loop is going to here, so that must be green, otherwise we'd have 3 in a row. This green still has to get out, mind you, so I'm going to get it out. It still can't be checkerboarded, so I'm going to get it out again. Does that mean this 9 is on the loop? Do I want... Oh, no, hang on. What's going on with my extended staple through this 1? Because this loop end is almost stranded. It's going to have to go there. It mustn't touch its friend, otherwise we're going to get a short loop. So it's got to go like this. Oh, look. That's 2 in a row. 2 greens in a row, so it can't go up. So it's got to go there. Right. Now, if this 9 was real, that would be quite good. So the loop would just go through there, and the 1 would connect to the 9, which is what we thought might happen. Oh, okay. If this is green, this is green. Oh, my 4's done. Oh, well that's probably going to cause some checkerboarding up here. Let's see. The 4 is done if I extend it here, which is the only place I can extend it. So that now becomes grey. And do I get any checkerboarding or not? Maybe I don't actually. If this is green, and the 9 clue, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 would have 8 in it. So if this is green, this is a green 9. But what if that was grey? Then the loop's either doing this or that. And that would be grey, so that would be grey. This would have to get out, and it would have a whole load of effects, but I'm not sure I can see anything very obvious that would emerge. This is it's difficult, isn't it? Because you make a deduction or two, but then I'm not sure if I'm meant to be looking here still, or here, or even here. I've now got the 1 clue is definitely going away from the 2 clue. These 2 strands are going in the wrong direction. Oh dear. I don't know. The 3 clue at the bottom, this has to end up at the 4 clue, which is there, isn't it? That doesn't feel as impossible. That sort of feels like it might be possible at some point, doesn't it? Let's make sure we understand that this is not available to the loop. And this is not available to the loop. So the next step that this one goes through is going to be into one of these junction thingies. If, maybe that's an interesting cell. If that cell's green, then this and this have to be grey. And then by checkerboard logic, this would have to be green, completing this, so these 2 would get framed in. Oh, that's almost blocking off green, look. No, actually this one wouldn't be, only this one, so that's wrong. It's wrong. Ignore that. Ignore me. Ignore me, that was a silly thought. Well, it is a silly thought, but do I get into trouble? These 3s are powerful in an unexpected way. The way they're powerful is when they're green. It really is a challenge to get the green that emerges from the 3 to connect to the rest of the grid. I think that might be what I'm meant to focus on, because if that's green, then I get grey here and grey here. I don't know if this is fine or not, but it feels like it might be difficult. Then the green has to come out here. Does that work or not? Am I getting checkerboarded here? I can't quite tell. I mean, certainly those would have to be green. That's definitely true. By checkerboard logic, this would be grey. This would be grey. Maybe I don't get checkerboarded. Maybe, in fact, that could even be correct, couldn't it? That would force this to go up, this to turn there. That would make more sense, because this 1 clue would be going up in the same direction as whichever one of these is going into the 1. Or whichever one of these is intended to connect to the 2. Don't make a checkerboard here, so this would be grey. Is there anything wrong with this? This would have to extend to here. This would be grey, this would be grey. I don't know, is the short answer. I mean, that's quite... what that's convincing me of is that the 3s are powerful, but not in a way where I could immediately see how it worked, which is a distressing thing. So which rule is it that is constrained in some part of the grid now? I don't know. Is there a way to tell which of the 9s is going to be the real? I mean, if that 9 was green... Oh, that's an interesting thought. If that 9 was green, it wouldn't be possible to fill it, because it could only take 4 in its row. 5, 6, 7, it can't run into the 3 and make the 3 green, because the 3 by being green would immediately be broken, because it would see a big line of green beneath it that was bigger than 3. So this one is grey by dint of sort of... That's really clever setting, because it's a totally different type of logic. Now, that's on... How do we pass the loop straight through there? There's only one way. But is that going to do... Well, I tell you what that does do. It makes both of those green. Avoid a checkerboard. And somehow or other this all has to be filled, doesn't it? But it'd be lovely to know somehow whether we knew whether... Because if this was... Oh, that can't be grey, because it would be checkerboarded. So that is green. Okay, that puts serious pressure on this vertically. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's done. Brilliant. So that's grey. This 4 is done. This 9 has to be... Well, it could easily have 9 just horizontally. I suppose vertically it can only have 6. 7, 8, 9. Oh, so we can't deduce anything about its horizontal component yet. Okay, but that's still a big win for the goodies. Now, this square, if it was grey, that would be 3 in a row, so that's green. Right, well, what's going on with this square now? That square's got to turn. And then it can't go into itself. It can't turn left, or it'd be 3 greens in a row. So it goes there into a grey. Don't make a checkerboard. That's always an important consideration. This strand now can't turn left, or it would be 3 in a row. Oh, it's so wonderful when you get these little flurries. That's got to be green, otherwise we'd have 3 in a row again. Okay, that's all good. Right, so what do we do now? We know that these 9s are not available for the loop. I'm just going to fully sort of mark that off, because actually that allows me to see that as a continuation of the loop. This can't go down, so we must go there. That's 2 in a row. So we have to be a little bit careful with this. Well, that is interesting, is it? No, perhaps not. This is green. The loop would turn, the loop would turn. These would both be green. That might be okay, actually. I was wondering whether I could do some checkerboard shenanigans to get myself out of trouble there. I mean, certainly if this is grey, I think we have to go into this square, because otherwise we would run into trouble by going up, and it would be 3 greys in a row. Okay, but one thing we can do now, you know, which is probably worth doing, is this has to connect to the 2. And we've now proved through logic that this 1 goes through this 9. So we have proved that the loop is working the way we thought, and therefore the 9 needs to go to an 8, doesn't it? Now there is an 8 there. Oh, there's an 8 there. That would be so funny. It would be so funny if this one went over there. I don't think it can. There's no way, is there? I mean, I'm not going to assume that this is green, but I bet you it is. Okay, so what? So we did a little bit. This has got to go into the 2, which is this. Which strand is it? This one. So those 2 strands connect somehow without going through any other numbers on their journey. Right. No, what I was about to say is not true. Because this could turn that way, and then it would take it at least in the right direction. I tell you something I haven't used, which I should use. This 3 is grey, so all the other 3s in the grid are green. So that might be important. He says rather desperately and not actually seeing how it works at all. Okay, this 9 now is seeing less than it used to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh yeah, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is always green. I mean, it doesn't do anything really, but it's perhaps worth just recording. Oh, all greys get to the edge of the grid. So this grey must get to the edge of the grid, which means this is grey. Now that means that this loop never goes into this square, because it would be 3 in a row. So this is out of bounds now. You can't get the loop into that square, so the loop continues there. Oh, I could have done this before, couldn't I? Now this is grey, otherwise this is problematic. This square is now grey to avoid a checkerboard. Oh, and look now. Okay, I've got to be really careful. I've got 2 greys here, so that's green. I've got 2 greys here, so that's green. I've got to avoid a checkerboard here. Can we do... Yeah, okay. No, well, I mean, they obviously don't connect round there, but there's no reason to really think they should. If this went up, it would be 3 in a row, so it doesn't go up. If it went straight on, it would be 3 in a row. Well, it mustn't do that, so it goes down. Oh no! Oh, that's really surprised me. So, so now this strand can't connect to its right, because this is meant to connect to the 2, and it would be connecting through the 4. So this 4, one side of it is going to the 3, which is down there, and the other side is going to the 5, which might be that one. Where's the other? Oh, it could be this one actually. If this can somehow loop round to the 3, which is probably impossible, but I don't know. But anyway, this one now goes straight on. And does this... No, okay, right. So this is a strand which is connecting to a 3 or a 5, so it definitely doesn't connect to the 8 line, the line that needs to connect to the 8. So that goes on. It can't connect to the 3, so it turns. This one can't connect to this one. This one can't connect to this one in exactly the same way. Oh, this is going to be good, isn't it? Because this is going to cause some sort... Oh, no, I thought I'd broken it. But no, I haven't broken it, because the way we don't break, remember that these can't connect, is we turn this up and we go, oh, we've hit a number. But that's exactly the number that we hope we might hit. 5, we must go straight through it. That's grey. I haven't checked all of these for sort of... This has now got to go there. It can't connect here. It still needs to hit 8 before it hits anything else. It can't hit any of these 3s. This can't hit there. Look at this. This is what we were looking for. A real way of making progress. Oh yeah, I've seen something else that's good as well. I'm going to look at this square. Now that square, if this was green, it would be 1, 2, 3 greens in a row. It's grey. Don't make a checkerboard. So now this green has to get out to connect to all its friends, so somehow it's going to go through this tunnel or that cell. It might be difficult again, the 3s might help us out with this. Okay, so we've got 2 greys in a row there, which means this and this are both green. Nearly. Well, actually I'm going to say something about this square. What would happen if that square was grey? Can't be. If that's grey, then to get this domino to connect to its friends, we have to go here, completing the 3 and fencing it in. So let me just show you that fully. It would look like that. And this can't connect, can it? So in fact, this square is green. Therefore, to avoid a checkerboard there. This, oh, do we know? Yes, we do. That's got to be grey, or we've got 3 in a row. In fact, we've got to be very careful here. That's got to be grey, or we've got 3 in a row. This 3 clue is done. Boom. Boom. Avoid a checkerboard. KNT, this is just a wonderful puzzle. This green still has to get out. In completing this, in getting this out, it completes this 3. Let's grey it all in. That can't be green in the corner or it'll never get out. This green still has to get out. Oh, oh no. Ah! No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay providing this doesn't go into this square. Otherwise we would have 3 in a row. But hang on, what? Hang on, what? This is a 5 coming from a 4. So this goes into a 6. It does not go into a 9. So this is still the line that's meant to hit the 8. This is meant to hit the 6. This is meant to hit the 6. This is meant to hit the 8. They do not meet. So this goes up, up. Oh, this is meant to hit an 8, not a 6. So it then goes down again. You can't go straight through this number now. So this is off the loop, and that is one of the funny clues, one of the cave clues. Okay, well that's just a phenomenal sequence we've just got going there. A phenomenal sequence. Oh, this needs to see an 8. There's an 8 right there, so it's getting nearer to where we think it's probably going to go. This is trying to hit a 6, which is not... How many 6s have we got? No, don't be that one. It is that. That's ludicrous. You're kidding me. That's what that comment said. What was the comment? It was something like, never before have I spent 75% of my solve time thinking I've broken the puzzle. Well, what we're now saying is that this too connects to this somehow. And this 6, I think, connects to that. And this is now a straight line through there, so that's a corner. It can't go into an 8 from a 6, so it's got to turn. This can't go, we can't connect 3 to 6, so that turns. Don't run those into each other, so that goes up. These still have to be kept apart. Wow. I don't know. I mean, I think all of that is true. But actually, I don't know. One of the things that's very tricky here is knowing which of the constraints is the place to, or is the thing you need to think about. Like, is it the 3 in the row? Is it the green cave clues? Is it the next number on the loop? And juggling all those, you can see I'm 57 minutes in. I mean, I haven't even done half the puzzle, but I suppose at least we're getting somewhere. And and it's just brilliant, isn't it? It is just brilliant. Look, this is 2 in a row, so it can't continue to there. So we're going to get a turn here into, you've guessed it, a green. That's quite useful. That is quite useful, because now this has to be grey, or this 4's broken. So this 4, oh, it sees 3. One of these is green, and the other isn't. Either way, it's very powerful, isn't it? Oh, am I meant to understand that somehow? That 5 as well. Do we know, oh, we do. We know that 5 was on the loop, so that's not on the loop. So we can fence that off. But this could turn up, couldn't it? I mean, it would be a strange thing for it to do, but it could do it without breaking the 3 by 3 in a row rule. Okay. Where do I... maybe it's down here. So the 6 on one side of it is meant to go to there, which is the crazy one. And on the other side, it's meant to go to a 7, which is one of these. Well, I mean, I suppose that one could sort of just go straight up the grid, maybe. Or no, it can't quite do that. Maybe it does that. This 8 is out of... yeah, okay, that 8's obviously out of bounds now. You can't go straight through it. So that 8 is the real 8. And we have to go straight through this in one direction or the other. This one here has to have... Yeah, that's got to have a horizontal component. Because it can't run into the 4. If it was to run into the 4, it would make the 4 into a 5, wouldn't it, if all of those were green? So we could take 5 there, 6, 7, 8. All 3 of those are green. Oh, it's so near. It's so nearly breaking at the checkerboard. If I could get one more here, would that do it? Actually, I'm not sure it would. What's the key here? Is it going to be? Is it got? I don't know. I just don't know. I've got to connect all these greens together, all the greys to the edge. But the greys to the edge, that came into play once over here. If that's green, that's grey. That's green. If this is green, that's grey, so that's green. Is that what I just said? I'm just going to check that again. That might be breaking. If this is green, the 4 is finished, so the grey is... We've got to fence it in, don't we? This 3... now has to turn. I think this is the one I looked at before and it's okay. What about that though? That breaks it. That's it. It's simple. It is simple, and that is something I really respect about K&T's puzzles generally. But you don't have to do big long look aheads. You just have to think clearly, and then you have to ask the right question. If you ask the right question, the answer becomes easy. So, here is my question. Can this be green? We know one of these is green to complete the 4. If it's this one, why is there a problem? And the problem comes from the 3 in the row here, because now to fence the 4 in, we have to make this grey, and we've gone 2 in a row. So in theory, this needs to be green, but it can't be green because that will break the 3 clue. It's as simple as that. So this one is grey, this one is green. Don't make a checkerboard. That completes the 3, which makes this grey. Now, what I don't know is about whether we've now created new problems for ourselves regarding the 3 in a row problems. Don't see any new problems, actually. Can we complete this 8 by taking that square? Yes. That would grey both of those in. That is impossible. Oh, that's beautiful. Wow. Wow. So, why can that not be green? Well, it would make the 8 clue perfect, and we'd have to grey these in. Now, what do we put in the corner now? The answer is nothing. If we make it grey, we've got 3 in a row. If we make it green, the green doesn't orthogonally connect to the rest of the green. Impossible. So this square is actually grey, which means this is green to avoid 3 in a row on the intersection. That's green to avoid checkerboard. This green has not got out. It must get out and connect to its friends. This 4 we've got to put 4 more on the 8 without connecting to this. Yes, okay, this is forced actually. This being grey has forced the 8's hand because it needs 4 more cells without connecting to that, and the only way it gets them is like this. Right, that's big, because now this square must be grey, otherwise we've got 3 in a row round the corner. Now the 8, okay, the 8 is out of bounds, so we could have put that in before. Oh no. How is this ever resolved down here? Really, I mean, how is it ever resolved? I mean, I could... So if there was the 2x2 rule, which there definitely isn't, that 2x2 rule is definitely broken. Well, they're only broken in a couple of places. I could sort of see... What's constraining this? It must be only the 3 in a row rule, isn't it? I don't understand. So if you make that grey, that's green and has to get out. So that's green and has to get out. Oh, I see. No, it does resolve. That's weird. Right, that can't be grey. If that's grey, what happens is the question. And the answer is that this has to be green to avoid 3 in a row. But that green then has to get out. And the only way it gets out is by converting all of these to green. And that's 3 in a row on the 6 line. So you can't do that. So what that means is that this is in fact green. And now... what does... or can I just do that logic the other way round? No, it doesn't work the other way round because we don't know how this extends. So if I make that grey, yes, these two are green, but I have 2 greens, and providing I turn right, that would be okay. Although, no, it wouldn't, actually. Okay, now I can't go this way, I've just noticed, because I turn up and I get 3 greys in a row up here. So I have to go there, and that does allow me to do the same logic. If this is grey, these are both green. Otherwise I've got 3 in a row here, and that would create 3 in a row there. So that's also green, which means this is grey to avoid 3 in a row. And we've got sort of a Loch Ness monster at the bottom of the grid. We found Nessie. Right, but we still can't connect the 3 to the 6, so these have to be kept apart. That means that goes up there, which is a weirdity. Oh, lovely. So this can't connect here, or we'd have a little tiny loop in the bottom left. So that goes up, and that now turns grey, otherwise we've got a problem. This 4 is nearly penned in. It's got to take those 2 as green, and possibly this one, but one of these 2 is the other variant. This grey has to get to the edge. Does that mean it has to connect to that? Well, it probably does, but I mean, maybe it could do this or something strange. I don't know. The 4 is definitely not on the loop, so we have to turn. Again, we can't connect this up, so we have to turn there. But then this can go in a variety of places, I think. What about... well, we can't go 3 in a row here, so we have to turn. Now that's a corner, so that has to turn. This is now stranded, so that goes up. So now I'm going to move, I'm going to slightly shuffle my thingies along. That's the technical term. I'm shuffling my thingies. This goes into the 4, so that's there. It's really close. Oh, but it can't go directly. No! That's so ludicrous. Because it looks like it wants to go there. But if it did, it would take 3 in a row, so it can't do that. Oh, bobbins. There's going to have to be some rinky-dinkage before that does it. Now, this... well, this is a 5 or a 7. And this is... I mean, I might as well label those up. 5s or 7s. So it definitely doesn't hit the 1, is the point I wanted to make. So that continues into a grey. Otherwise, it's 3 in a row. Now, this is stranded. So it must turn up. That must turn up and stay apart. So this, again, this can't go into here. So, oh goodness, this is getting very close to 3 in a row. Very close. That turns. It can't connect there, or we've got 3 in a row. So those have to both turn. This can't connect to this, so it does go in like that. That now turns up and does make a sort of knot in the loop. This goes up, doesn't connect to the 5-7 thing. This goes up, this goes up. I mean, this is fabulous. It's so cool that you can make this sort of progress. Yeah, this is still got to be kept apart. I'm going to shift my 5s and 7s up again to where I've managed to get the loop. This is still a 1. This 4 is now done. That has gone through the 4, into the 5, into the 6, which, okay, so this is connecting to one of those now. At least we're getting a little bit higher with some of this loop stuff. Now, don't make 3 in a row there, so that's grey. No, that doesn't do it. No, okay. If I made that grey, oh, I'm not sure. Both of those would be grey to avoid checkerboarding. Doesn't seem to give me a 3 in a row problem. The way these rules marry together, it really is. It's a beautiful selection, isn't it? That K&T's done to craft these rules. Now 2 greens here means that's grey. I'm so desperate to find checkerboard. Oh, here's a good point. If that's grey, I've got to avoid a checkerboard. So these would both be grey, and that would be 3 in a row. So that's green, and this grey has to get to the edge, so it is going up there, which is what we thought was going to happen. So if that's green now, all of this would be grey. That makes a 3. That's no good. If that's green, both of these are grey to avoid checkerboarding, and that's 3 in a row. So that is grey. And I don't think I've got to avoid 3 in a row there. I've got to avoid 3 in a row there. I've got to avoid a checkerboard there. Now, oh, I've nearly got a problem, but it's okay. If this was to turn left, it would be 3 greens in a row. So it mustn't do that. It must turn right. So this turns up. Fly noise. Oh, there's a spider. I can actually see the spider. It's not my money spider that's been running around here the last few days. It's another spider, and it's caught a fly, and it is very busy wrapping the fly up. Oh dear. Okay. Well, I'm all for that, frankly. I like spiders much more than flies. Okay. Right. So what do you think we look for next? This 5 clue needs to be correct from a whatchamacallit perspective. Yeah, that's good. Okay. So I've got 3 verticals max green, 1 here, that's 4. So this is always green. And now, no, I was wondering if that would give me a chance to avoid 3 in a row, but it doesn't. What about this loop thing we've got going on from coming out of the knot? That now seems to have to go up. Can't close, so it must go up again. Now, we don't know though, do we? This is ridiculous. So now, I don't know whether I'm meant to look back over here again. I'm going to shift my 2 forward slightly. So 2 is joining to 1. These 2 are joining up. They are getting closer at least. The 6 is joining to the 5 or the 7. But let's shift this one up as well. It makes me think I'm doing something. I know I'm not really, but the 4 is finished. That's great. Don't know how I did that, but it seems to be true. Okay, so that's got to be grey. Avoid a checkerboard there. That's got to be grey. Now, okay, so now this can't attach there. I've got 3 greys in a row. So that goes up. The 7. Do we know about the 7s yet? No, that's interesting. So we don't know whether this is on or off the loop. What do we think? I think this one might be on the loop, because it's near the 8 that's on the loop. I don't know though. We do know. Oh no, we don't. I was about to say something. It's just not true. It's best if you're solving these puzzles to not say things that are untrue, because the audience is so clever. They will pick you up on it. Big, huge deduction. Right, huge deduction alert. Let's double click the greens. This bottom area of green here hasn't connected unless that's green. And that means that is grey. Which doesn't do. I don't think that does. I don't think that's as good as I was hoping. Is it this somehow? Yes, there is a deduction we can make here. Again, I don't think it's doing very much, but there's 4 horizontal max, so it must take 1 vertical at least. But this doesn't seem to be necessarily on the loop. What is going on? I don't know. What could we do here? I see. Okay, here's a little thought. What happens if this is going to meet the 8, which is there, so it looks like it's going to go through that channel. If it didn't, is that possible? Because if it doesn't go through this cell, then it can't run into the 7 because it's meant to go into the 8. So it would have to go here. It would have to go here. There's nowhere else for it, and that's going to cause the 6 and the 2 to connect, isn't it? So we do go through there, and we must go straight through. Oh, that's lovely. It's lovely and it's straightforward. I feel a bit silly that I didn't spot that straight away. The weird thing is, though, that having done that, it doesn't really do anything for me, does it? Maybe the point is I've still got the challenge, yeah. I've got the challenge that these 2 loop ends have to be kept apart. And therefore they must connect to these, mustn't they? Otherwise, I've got 2 loop. If we look, I just want to look very explicitly at that area, which I think is a closed off area, in terms of there are 4 loop ends coming into it. So if, for example, we said, we'll turn this away, and we did something like this, you can now see that I've got 3 loop ends coming into a constrained area, and that's impossible as regards a loop. There must be an even number of loop ends in any hived off area. So I think what we can say, because this loop end and this loop end have to be kept apart, and because there's no possibility for a crossroads, this and this are connecting, and this and this are connecting. Now, if that's the case, that would require this to turn, wouldn't it? It would require this to extend, and it requires that. It's just forced in order to achieve the connectivity. What is not forced, this has got rinky-dinkage available to it. So now we can shuffle our 2 along slightly. And it's now going in the wrong direction again to meet up with its friend the 1. And this 6 is connecting to this. So this is the 6 somehow. I don't know how it's doing it. These 2 are connecting, and then that's going to convert this to what has to go and connect with one of the 5 or the 7. And this, having gone through the 8, this is going off to find a 7, but it might be this 7 or it might be that 7, we don't know which. It feels very difficult for it to be this one now, but I'm not going to necessarily rule it out. And how does this all resolve itself from the perspective of being unique at this point? That also feels incredibly difficult. Wow. I mean, where do I look? This has to get to the edge. That is true. Maybe it gets there? Like that? No, that would be 3 in a row, so it doesn't do that. If that's green, this is green by checkerboard, that would be grey. That would be grey by checkerboard. That almost feels likely to me. This 4, it can take 3 horizontally, so it does have a vertical component to it. Oh, I thought I was going to get the 5 because of where my cursor was, but no, the 5 is still ambiguous, I think. What's going on? This 2, oh, that's connecting here, but how? How is that achieving that without... I mean, it should be easy to see how those are going to meet up, but it's not actually. Well, I can see ways they can do it, but not with... I've got to be careful not to strand loop ends again. I mean, I really do. Because what you can't do, for example, is connect this to this. At least I don't think you can. I mean, actually, you keep doing little roller coasters, and it is a little bit hard to see why that fails. But I don't think it does work. But if that doesn't connect to that, it connects to this, and then it must sort of go over the top and in there, I suppose. So maybe that is a valuable deduction, working out whether this can connect to this. And the reason I think that's difficult, let me just show you why I think that's difficult. If we do go here, this is now very stranded. The only way it gets out is either it connects here, or it does a rinky-dink here. This would go down. And I just think that this 6 is getting stranded, because that would have to sort of come across there in order to connect up. And the 6 would never, there's no crossroads available for the 6. And if we go straight in here, then I've got the task of connecting this to this. And again, I think this 6 gets stranded. I mean, that's very complicated. I'm not really happy about using that because I'm not 100% sure it's correct. It probably is. I couldn't see why it was wrong, but that feels a step of a look ahead too far compared to everything I've done in the puzzle to this point. So I'd rather not do that if I don't have to. So how do we avoid that? If we... Maybe I could think about which of the... Oh, I don't know. I don't actually know how to do this, is the honest truth. If we... Okay. That is absolutely crazy stuff. I don't know if that's coming through on the microphone, but the spider has really, really caught that fly in a very annoying way from a noise perspective. Let's think about this 6. This 6, what it can't do now, interestingly, is it can't take that square and that square, because that'll cause 3 greens in a row. I suppose it could take any number this way. So it isn't forced to take this square, is it? It'd be interesting to know if this one was grey. Well, if this is grey, we have to pass straight through it. So maybe we can disprove that. Yes. Yes, sorry, that's obvious. That's the way we look. Yeah. If this is on the path, we have to pass straight through it. But we can't go from the 5 to the 7 directly. So this would have to turn, and this is definitely isolated, isn't it? That is so definitely wrong. So actually, this is green, and that's the grey one. So now, what does that mean? Oh no, I don't know. We've got 6 horizontal. So how could this not be in? How could this not be green? Oh no, no, that's okay. We can do it. No, I'm talking absolute nonsense again. Okay, so maybe this is where we're meant to look. Yes, okay, so now we can look here. Because if we were to go directly into this from here, that would be 3 in a row. We mustn't do that. We must turn. And therefore, the only way you can go straight through this is like that. And now, this square is green. Otherwise, we've got 3 in a row. That's got to get out. That's huge. Come on. Now, what's going on with this, though? Could we... We've got... this is out of, this one is out, this 4 is out of bounds, so this has to turn into something. So this is the 7 now, isn't it? Because whichever direction it goes in, whether it goes up or down, it is connecting to the 7 as its next sort of visitation. So this is connecting to the 5, which is there. Oh, it's right over there. So this one is not connecting here, because it would be going to the 7 now, as well as this one. So this has to turn away from that loop end, and it goes there. Now, it doesn't go into the 1, so the 1 goes there, the 5 goes here. Now, is that good or bad? I don't know. This is now the 5. This is the 1. Let's get rid of these. Look, this doesn't go into the... Well, is that 6 saying... Yeah, okay, so the 6 and the 5 do meet, so that is a valid possibility. That's probably what happens, isn't it? It just closes. I mean, again, I'm saying that like, you know, it's not forced. I don't... Is it forced? It might be. I don't know. Actually, I'm not sure. I'm not sure it is forced. If you did a big 2 knots, you could get away perhaps without doing that. Right, but there must be opportunities now for me to say things about 3s in a row that I haven't thought about before. This has to turn up. So this is doing some weird rinky-dinkage here. Well, 3 in a row if that's grey, so that's green. 3. Oh, hang on. What's this doing? If this was grey, I'd have... No, would I? I'm not even sure now. I'm going mad. I don't think I would have 3 in a row, whatever this is. Which makes me question whether or not I could this is possibly right. Oh, KNT, what have you done here? Well, you're just playing with my brain. I think that can be either. I mean, it would be more useful if it was grey, frankly, because then this green would have to get out and it would have to go there. And then, oh no, then it could go either way. This 4 is done. So we go through the 7. That's what this has achieved. So let's just trace it through. So the 6 goes, does a loop the loop through the 7. So this is meant to go and find the 8, which is there. So this 8 and 7 are meant to join together. I mean, why is this here? I don't know. I suppose that green's still got to get out as well, doesn't it? It has to connect to the rest of its friends. Oh, I don't know where to look. I don't know. How long have I had? An hour and a half. It's flown by. I mean, that's the great thing about these sorts of puzzles. You just get lost in them. Or at least I do. Okay. So the nice thing to know would be, if that's double green, does that give us a problem? That feels difficult. I don't know if that's fine or not. What I'm seeing is if that's green, I've got to avoid a checkerboard, so that also becomes green. And so far it's fine, isn't it? Except this now becomes grey. This has to get to the edge, so both of those become grey. And have I caused a 3 in a row anywhere? And the answer is, I actually don't think I have. That, in fact, that looks like it might work, because the 4 would then work with double green, and I can't see that I've committed a 3 in a row. Wow, okay, so for some reason, this, I think, actually either way round, you've got to avoid a checkerboard. If you make that green, this is green. If you make this grey, you've got to avoid a checkerboard there, so this is double grey. Oh, that doesn't work. That's it. Right, if this is grey, to avoid a checkerboard, I've got to make this grey. And that's 1, 2, 3 in a row, and that won't work. So it is double green. That's massive. That is massive for the good guys, because now this is grey to avoid 3 in a row. That's grey to avoid checkerboard. This is green to avoid 3 in a row. This 4 is finished by dint of that. Now, there must be more available. Well, this 5 is finished, so that's grey. That's 2 in a row, so that's green. Avoid a checkerboard, that's green. This has to get to the edge. I mean, admittedly, I think it's going to go through there, but I'm not certain. Right. Well, that was tremendously exciting again. You get these like little spurts of endorphins when things go in your favour. So somehow, oh, the 3 can't connect down, otherwise that would be more than 3. That's very clear. So this is double grey, so that's got to be green. Now, what next then? Like, it's very hard not to use the grey numbers as cave clues for some reason. A part of my brain is very keen to do that. I've probably done 2/3 of this now, so I might get done within 2 hours, which wouldn't be an absolute disgrace. Okay, but is there some easy connectivity trick? Yes, there is. This 2 can't connect to a 5, can it? So it must go straight up. That's the only thing it can do. So this 5 does connect to the 6, which is what we thought. So the 2 now needs to go, well, it definitely doesn't go into a 7. It still has to keep going. And look, I really want to connect it here. It looks like that must be what it does. How could it not be? How could it not be? I mean, can it go off a wandering? I mean, the thing is, with the loop being able to cross, it probably could. Oh, here's an interesting one. That 9's got fenced in. It's only got 5, 6, 7, 8, 6, 7, 8. Oh, that was few. I thought that wasn't going to work, but it does. So that's grey now. Right, has that caused any possibilities of 3x3s? Yeah, just one. Here and here. That has to be grey. This has to get to the edge. Why? How is this? How is this resolved up here? Oh, I see. No, it could be, actually. It could be. Imagine this was green. If this was green, then it would dictate the direction that this closes, because it couldn't take 3 in a row to close. So I think something for you from a uniqueness perspective will force this to be green. Oh, it's the 7, isn't it? No, because the 7 could be completed by doing that. Something up here is going to cause this to be green. I don't know what it is, but it will. Right, so where do we look next? Does this just close, or is there some way it doesn't? I don't know. This is bizarre, isn't it? It is to me anyway that this just doesn't collapse at this point. So in fact what we could do is shift this forward to here. The 5 and the 6 is sort of done. These two are connecting, obviously. These two are connecting, and this one is connecting here, but I've got all of these unused strands. It just seems bizarre. I could have so much unused stuff to me. What's all this doing? Or is it to do with the fact I've got to get the greys to the perimeter? Or is it to do with connectivity of the overall green section? I mean, the only bit of this that looks potentially tricky to me is this. I can see that has to get out. So it either gets out through here, and then it's easy, or it's going to get out through there, which is harder and would dictate the way that the loop moves around the corner here. It couldn't then close that way. It would have to come this way, which feels trickier. Have I definitely taken the loop straight throughout every opportunity, through every number I'm meant to? Maybe. I think I have done that. I think it's a 3 in the row point. That's what I think. I think there is some part of this now where I could probably just look at it and go, well, I'm going to have 3 in a row if I do blop. And where is that? I don't know. I just don't know. Or the 6 and the 7 somehow. Maybe they're in. Yeah, okay, the 6 is interacting, isn't it? The 6 can only take 4, so those two are definitely green. So that's actually there's a checkerboard that's been sitting there forever. Okay, so now I'm up to 5 on my 6 clue. Okay. And what did I thought this was going to be forced to be green, didn't I? Which would complete the 6 clue. And okay, so my 7 clue now. Well, yes, the 7. Actually, this becoming grey has had a profound impact on both of these clues. That was the key, wasn't it? Sorry. So now is the moment to look at this again, because I've got 4 here maximum, 5, 6, 7. That gives me 2 in a row. So that square is definitely grey. Now this can't connect straight on, because that would be 3 in a row. So we can do that, which I think makes it even more likely this is closing, but I won't do it yet. Oh, hang on, look at this. That grey right in the middle. Well, okay, firstly, let's avoid a checkerboard there, just while I see it. But also, this grey has to get out to the edge of the grid. And there's only one passageway through which it can do it, which is taking this and then that. So that's all quite interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the 7 gets completed with this now. The 6, 2, 3, is completed. This grey has to get to the edge of the grid, has to go through there. This is better. Okay, so we're now nearly there, I think. Right, now these 2 greens, so if I rinky-dinked here, 3 greens, so that is determining how that closes, and that's lovely. I mean, the thing is, that makes me think I'm on the right path, because that uniqueness resolved itself is just beautiful. Now, if this, oh look, yeah, if this goes here, that's 3 greys in a row, so we have to rinky-dink at the top, at least a little bit. Yeah, and now if I go up, look, I'm going to connect the 2 to the 7, so I can't go up, I can't go west, I must go down, and that has achieved the ludicrous. I'll do it at the end, but I think that has connected my 1 to the 2, which was a very, very surprising thing to happen. Now, this now at the top can't go through the 3, so it must go this way. The 3 needs to be a count of 3 greens. It could get 1 here, but it must take this one. We have to, oh, no checkerboards. That completes the 3. We can't do 3 in a row, so the 3 goes there. That doesn't break the 3. Goodness. So it's lit. So all of these connections are necessary somehow to what? Oh, I suppose this one has to turn down now. So there's a little knot in the situation there. That's got to turn up. So why? Well, I mean, we can see we can't close the loop there, or we've left stuff stranded. So we have to do that, and that is, I think, everything done, but it's not, because somehow or other this must have a unique solution from here. Oh, I see, yeah. I was wondering about this square, but if that square is grey, the green doesn't connect. This green in the top left doesn't get out, so that is definitely green. And somehow it's going to be the 3 in the row, is it? It's going to be something is going to fix this. Although it's not immediately apparent to me how this works. I'll clear that up. Now, so if this was, yeah, that doesn't work. If this was grey, let me show you why that doesn't work. This green has to get out, so all of those become green. And look, 1, 2, 3 greens in the top row. So in fact, this has to be green. And if this is green, maybe all bets are off then. Well, no, then this has to be grey, because otherwise there's a problem with this sequence. So that is grey now. Okay, so now I've got 1. No, I haven't. That's not true, Simon. So if this was green, again, that green would have to get out and would have to create a line of 3. So that's definitely grey. The corner must now be grey, otherwise it's disconnected. And this square, if that isn't, God, it's incredible. If that is not green, I've got 3 greys in a row. So that's green. Now, this is the question. Does the loop work? So let's start with the 1 and go, I don't know, let's try and do it. Let's try and trace the loop in what I think is the correct order. So this, hopefully we're going to find, oh no, we didn't. Well, the 2's down here. 2, we did go to a 2. We went to a 3, we went to a 4, we went to the 5. The 6 was in a nonsense place. And we went through it. Now we've got to go to a 7, and we do an 8, which we do. Now we should end up with a 9, and then back to the 1. I think it's right. Oh, I can't let you do that. Oh, the puzzle doesn't include a solution. Right. Okay, so I can't So it doesn't know whether it's right or not. Well, I mean, all I can do, I suppose, once I turn off the webcam, I will stare at it for a long time and try and convince myself I've obeyed the 3x3 rules. And if it's right, what will we then do? How are we going to... I know what we'll do. We will look at turns of the loop. Because the turns of the loop, I think, because they never turn, because the loop doesn't go through green numbers and doesn't turn on grey numbers, what we will do is say enter a, I don't know what digit, 1 or a 0 or something on all of the turning points of the grid, and enter maybe to stop just entering 1 in all of the blank spaces, we'll enter 2 or something in all the straight bits of the loop. Maybe that's what we have to do. And then we could create a checkable solution. But what a puzzle. I mean, it's taken me a very long time, but it was absolutely magnificent from start to finish. Just absolutely brilliant setting. A fascinating hybrid of rules, but just executed with immense panache and immense skill by a brilliant mind. KNT, take a bow, and let me know in the comments how you got on. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. I'm sorry to take so much of your Saturday evenings, and yeah, we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.